Number one, this is very important for everybody. She supports your goals. In other words, whatever ambition you have, whatever side projects like you have, like maybe being a podcaster on TikTok and creating content, being a movie reviewer, whatever the case is, whatever your goals and ambitions are, does she support them? Is she backing you up? Is she your Adrian to Rocky, to being Rocky? In other words, Rocky would never have been a champion if it wasn't for his Adrian. And does your woman support that or man support that? And if you do, and if you have the your best cheerleader, your number one cheerleader as your partner, that's a blessing, man. That's a huge blessing. And that's something you should really not give up. So if they support your goals and ambitions and they're there for you and helping you get to where you want to be, that's something that's an absolute blessing. It's a shame that there's an old Bill Burr joke that I heard on one of his podcasts many years ago. He says, do you have any idea how many undiscovered Jimi Hendrixes there are in the world because their wives told these guys, give up that shit and go get a job. We need more money. You can only imagine how many there are, but don't give up on your dreams. And if your woman is trying to separate, woman or man, again, I'm talking to the guys here. If your partner, your wife, is trying to separate you from either playing games, being a drummer, starting a rock band, starting that business, whatever the case is, and trying to get you to do something else, that is a red flag. Be cognizant of that. And if she's trying to separate you from family members as well, like you shouldn't hang out with them anymore. I don't like them. If she's trying to separate you from what identifies as you, that's a red flag. So again, be sure the person you're considering to share the rest of your life with supports your goals and your ambitions. Okay. Let me see. There's a comment here. Uh, Grim the poet says, I have been single for 4 years. Okay, I was single for a long time myself. Since 2020 ruined my ideal relationship since the rise of OnlyFans and poor economy now too. I'm not trying to create political debate. Okay, well, I get it. I mean, OF is an entirely different topic. It's non-existent in my world, so I kind of get what you're saying. But let's see here. I think for one, you do love her, him. Second, they support you. Although, caveat: if your partner is a bad person, destroying themselves. No, I think of Nick Cage leaving Las Vegas for that one. Yeah, if they're in a bad place, I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, that's an entirely different conversation. But I hear what you're saying, Sean. But yeah, number one, they support your goals and ambitions, and they're not trying to separate you from that. That's very important. Okay. Two, I'm gonna get a little X-rated here. Two, have clear expectations for needs and intimacy. I mean that. I think based on a lot of the stories you shared with me and my own personal story and others that I've seen, that I think there's no honesty when it comes to physical intimacy and needs at the very beginning. I think especially when you're younger, I think there's a lot of shame that people feel in admitting they're maybe into this particular thing, or they're open to ideas that some would consider taboo. Like I've said, I've had just a number of emails over the past 4 years where I had women email me says I'm bisexual, I'm lying to myself, I haven't told my husband, I'm tired of living this lie. How do I tell him? Or the guys saying they're secretly bisexual as well or gay. I'm living a lie. Again, they weren't honest with themselves or their partners at the very beginning. Now they thought they could, like us. What am I trying to say? They thought they can keep that hidden and buried within themselves, and it just didn't work out. 8 years later, it surfaces. So again, you can't hide who you really are. And there should be some clear expectations on that. If you like a particular thing, share that with them. If you want, expectations to be 2, 3 times a week, be clear on that. How important is physical intimacy with you? And also, I feel that includes, when I say intimacy, I'm gonna be very kind of careful because I know I'm on TikTok and Facebook and everything. I feel that you should at least as well share the fantasy space. In other words, there's a lot of married men that possibly I know for a fact watch videos on certain websites. In some of those videos, they're ashamed to let their wives know that, hey, I watch this. I think you should be 100% transparent with those fantasies so your wife knows what you're into and vice versa. I think that's completely healthy. And you should have that freedom and safe space knowing that your wife or husband's not going to judge you if you're into a certain thing. If something new comes along later in life, like, hey, I'm into this. Okay, let's try it. Why not? I'm open to it. I mean, I think there should be that freedom to explore the other person's passions and needs. But I think there should be a clear expectation on that. It just can't be black and white the entire time. And again, I think that's perfectly reasonable considering most people cheat via sex. They weren't getting this at home. I wasn't getting this attention at home. I wasn't getting the physical or emotional needs at home. So I left and got it from somebody else. If those two items are being met at home, in my opinion, there'd be less cheating and more honesty. So again, I don't know how many people would be open to that. I mean, to the guys out there, I know you probably watch those videos. If you don't, good for you, but I think you're lying. But the videos that you watch, could you share that with your spouse and say, "Hey, honey, I'm into this. Check this out." Would she be offended? Would she be upset? Or would she be, "Oh, cool, let's try that"? I'm curious what you would say. But again, I know the platforms that I'm on, and you have to be very, very safe on how you word that. Okay. But again, I think that's very important to be upfront and honest about expectations regarding intimacy. You have to. And don't lie to yourself either. Be completely honest with what you want and with them. Okay. I wish I could be a little bit more graphic, but I can't. Okay. I have to be very safe here. Okay. Number three, are you over your ex? I mean this. Are you completely 100% over your ex? Do you still stalk them on social media? Do you still curious and have that emotional tether to them? Um, when you and your partner get into a fight, is your first impulse to just make it worse than what it really is and leave the house so you can go reunite with them? A lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about because a lot of you do that. Are you over your ex? That's incredibly important. And if you're not, if you're still lingering on the what ifs and could haves, you are not mentally ready for marriage. And you have no business wasting another man or woman's time if you're constantly thinking about where she's at or what she's doing. Don't. Don't get married if you're still in that space because you're lying to yourself. And before you know it, you're going to be that cliche couple or that cliche statistic where you found them on Facebook 8 years later and now you're hooking up with them in a hotel 1 hour outside your city. It happens way too often. So don't do that. Don't do that. So again, you have to be completely over your ex. And I've seen those videos on TikTok where there's women that and younger women that are saying, I don't care where you're at with a woman, guys. There's always this one guy that a woman will just drop what she's doing to go see this guy. And it's true. There's depending on the stage of your life and the maturity of your life, there's that one person that I think many of us, guys included, that will go back to a woman if she were to text or call back. And that is a huge indicator that you have no business being in a relationship. You have no business being in a relationship because if you're still thinking about your ex and you've been with somebody for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and you're willing to drop them on a dime to go see them again, in my opinion, you're a piece of shit and a coward for just using this person as an emotional safety net while you were just waiting for your ex to call you back. That's my God honest opinion. You shouldn't be doing that. So again, you have to be 100% completely over your ex. If you're not, I'm telling you now, your marriage will fail and you have no business getting married. Absolutely none. Let me just get to some comments real quick. Uh, DB Cooper. Yeah, they found you, right? I mean, that's cool, man. DB Cooper is one of the guys who hijacked an airplane, I believe, back in the 70s. He jumped out with a parachute. They never found him. He got away with it. So now he's in my chat on TikTok. I believe in finding your significant other, however, live separately, make the heart grow fonder. Okay, but for how long? Absolutely not. So over the X. Okay. Hey, Shelly, what's going on? And see, the funny things, the funny thing is, and again, this is just my experience and my experience alone. Every woman that I met who was so adamant and just vocal that, oh my God, my ex was a big POS. I'm completely over that piece of crap. No, F him. I'm done. The more vocal they were about how much they hated him, in my opinion, it just is an indicator how much they're still in love with them and they're not over them. I saw that way too often in the dating space, and I was proven right in many of those occasions. So again, I think about my exes, and honestly, I don't hate any of them. I wish them the best. I learned a lot about myself from them. Yeah, I got my heart broken in many of the situations, but looking back, I walked into those situations as an idiot. I blame myself for ignoring the red flags and compromising my own standards. So again, you learn a lot about yourself. Sometimes when you lose, you really win. Sophia, love your podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Literally, someone says I forgot their name. I really appreciate that, Sophia. Oh, you're sweet. Well, thank you. I know I am. Just kidding. Another comment here. Again, Grim the Poet. This is my issue, but I feel everyone has a side piece no matter what. Well, no, not true. I mean, you get to a point. I think there's some immaturity. I think a lot of us, including me, when I was in those toxic relationships, yeah, there's a side piece because you're not healed from the breakup, and after a while, you mature and evolve to an adult. Not to say you're not an adult, but you evolve up here to where you say, you know what, I've been wasting my time. What am I doing here? What am I honestly doing here? I'm saying I want a healthy relationship. I want this, but I'm still thinking about so and so over here. Eventually, you let go. You get to a point in life where you understand what you want and what you need to do to get it. And again, it takes time. Some people get there sooner than others, but that's just the truth with life. It really is. But yeah, I think especially early 20s, late teens, maybe early 30s, depending on where you're at in life. Yeah, they may have that person. So again, that's why it's important to just before letting your emotional guard down, talk to them, see where they're at, see how they talk about their exes, see how if there's any red flags on their side, study them before you get involved with them. I think that's a huge indicator why people have horrible relationships as well. They jump into it. They're so caught up with the infatuation and the love story. At the very beginning, they let their guard down and then they kick themselves when it fails in 3 to 4 months. So just be cognizant. I mean, I think it's a strong discipline, especially for guys, to not allow your emotions to get the best of you when you're talking to somebody. If you can say I don't if you can say if you cannot say I don't hold on, what am I trying to say here? If you don't say I don't love you within a good amount of time, I think that's incredibly healthy. You know what I'm trying to say? That didn't come off right. I'm sorry. But again, I think if you can control your emotions, is what I'm trying to say in a relationship. I think that's a huge indicator of maturity there. Boom. I eventually got it. That's what happens when you don't go live for about 3 weeks. That's been about a month. My God, since my last live. Got to get the vocals back. Patricia, she says, I do enjoy the realistic, mature aspect you bring to the convos. Unfortunately, a lot of Delulu people. Oh yeah, you can see my comments. They're out there, but I can't help them. I did an interview with Trip Kramer, who has the largest network of coaching, dating coaching all over the world. Trip Advice. I was listening to his podcast back in 2019, and here I am interviewing him 4 years later. That's a huge win in my book as far as in the growth. And I asked him, do you ever coach people who push back on your advice? He goes, yeah, but I'm not here to waste my time with them. If they don't want my coaching and they've accepted defeat and given up on love, then let them go. Why waste your time with them? So again, it's a shame that there's a lot of people out there, men and women, who just say, no, I'm going to be on my own. I'm going to live alone. The hell with women. Women bring nothing but misery, etc. I feel bad for them because they're speaking from their past traumas or their past ex, and they're labeling an entire demographic, entire gender based off one or two women, which is stupid. And you can, and also if they're blaming, they're labeling women based on what they see on social media. And social media is, let's be honest, it's the most toxic space to learn about anybody. If you're learning about women at a young age through your phone, you're screwing yourself. You need to go out there and meet people. You really do. But thank you, Patricia. I really do appreciate that. If they talk bad about their ex, does that make them a walking red flag? Potentially a red flag, in my opinion. Like I said, all my exes, as toxic as they were, I have no animosity toward them. My fiance, she was engaged before, didn't work out. She's had some exes in the past. She doesn't speak ill about them. Like, oh, I hated that. That reminded me of my ex. Like, no, we've moved on. We've moved on. Once you learn to let that go, it's a beautiful peace of mind that you have as an individual. So yeah, that's my opinion. DB Cooper's still here. That's funny to me. Okay, so number 4, prenup. I think a prenup is very mature and appropriate to have as far as conversations go with your soon-to-be spouse. Marriages don't last forever. It's just a fact. I mean, they end. 7 years seems to be the average time span for marriages, and you have to be realistic on who gets what if it doesn't work out. I think that's an appropriate conversation. And if one of you is hesitant to have that discussion at the very beginning, that's a huge red flag because they're not mature enough. They're still kind of living in this fantasy world that it's going to be forever. And you have to be realistic. If you're both going into the marriage fighting to make it work, and you're both going to evolve and change and adapt to the change, you have a good chance of your marriage surviving. The problem is a lot of people tend to quit when it gets hard. And a lot of guys blame women that say, yeah, women are the ones that quit. That's why I'm going to give up. That's why I'm not going to get married, because why get married and dedicate myself fully if the woman's just going to quit on me when things get hard? And yeah, there's people like that out there. I've heard countless stories of guys getting cancer, and the princess that they married, whose daddy gave him a wonderful life, and I don't want to work or do anything. I want my man to take care of me. And she marries a guy that does, but eventually he gets sick. This one guy got cancer. She left him when he was going to fucking chemo because she couldn't handle the stress of taking care of him. She wanted to be taken care of. Or you get into a car accident, get hurt at work, you're not making as much money, you get laid off. Now the income is not as high as it once was, and she leaves you because you're not giving her the lifestyle that you agreed upon. So again, you have to be careful with that. But the prenup piece, I think it's very important to talk about and just leave it. It doesn't work out. Look, honey, we're walking into the situation with what we have. Whatever we obtain together in this marriage, let's split it 50-50. Okay. If it doesn't work out, uh, you know, every situation is different. You know, the guy could be the breadwinner and he can have a stay-at-home wife, a trad wife, as they call it now. That's an entirely different situation. I think women are allowed to get an allowance and lifetime of alimony, at least 5 years of alimony if she just agreed to be a trad wife. And you're married 15 years and you leave her for a younger person. I believe she's owed at least a 5-year allowance to get back on her feet. That's appropriate in my opinion. But again, you should write those details out before saying I do. And in my situation, again, me getting married, I understand the realistic expectations, but I know the woman that's in front of me. I know that we're both going to fight for it. But again, she is educated. She makes great money. And she's got her own assets. So we're both walking in with what we walk in. So whatever we walk in with, we're going to leave with. And whatever we obtain together, we'll either share or sell. So again, it's just a mature conversation that you should have with somebody. What about prenup because you're starting a business? That's very important to discuss, in my opinion. Very important to discuss. Who owns it? Does your spouse still become an owner? Are they the manager? Did they contribute to the wealth on that? That's a conversation you need to have with an attorney. But yeah, that's a very appropriate conversation to have. And that should be brought up because again, if you're starting a business together and it succeeds, whether you're divorced or not, I mean, you're still going to be business partners, I think. Everyone should have one. Yeah, no matter your tax bracket, it sets a standard for the marriage. Yeah. And guys, I just want to be honest. Like I said, with my divorce, and again, I want to be clear here. I represent like the middle class part of marriage. We both were working full time. We both weren't rich. I mean, we did okay. We had a house and 2 cars, that whole bullshit. But when you get divorced, we both lost everything. Okay, like I had to buy her out of the house. I did keep it, but I couldn't afford it on my own. We had to sell it and split the proceeds. We split the furniture. So everything was 50-50. So she didn't screw me as you guys think women do. We both walked away starting at zero. We liquidated everything 50-50. Even the kids, the custody was 50-50. And that's what we walked away with. Now, in your situation, if you're the breadwinner and she is a waitress at Hooters, I don't know, or somebody that you just has no income and she's a trad wife, that's a different situation. But again, I urge guys to not base your thoughts on divorce and the arrangements of a divorce on what you see on social media. You're not a celebrity. You're not an NBA player. You're not making millions. Maybe you are, but probably you're not. Don't compare your situation to fucking celebrities or Kevin Costner because you're not Kevin Costner. And your divorce situation is going to be completely different. Okay. So again, kind of be realistic on that, but also discuss prenups and be very, very upfront and honest on who gets what, because there is a major chance your marriage will end. Okay. And for those who are curious, yes, we do have one. Sean says, I hope it lasts forever, but I think the issue of a prenup is kind of says to someone you don't think it will last in case. What's the point of getting married? I mean, true, but again, you can't predict the future. I mean, you're going to go in with great intentions, but people change. No one gets married to fail, Sean. Nobody does. But things happen. Things change. I didn't intend to get divorced, but it happened. People grow apart. People change. Some people grow old and become bitter and angry, dude, with life. Like things didn't work out the way they wanted. Now they're just resentful and bitter and pissed. And no matter how much, this is not my experience, but this is others that I've spoken to. And no matter how much you try to uplift them or motivate them and help them see a different side of life, they're just angry and pissed off. And you have to ask yourself, okay, if you're not willing to evolve and get out of this space, what do you expect me to do? You want me to be married to just a bitter man and who's angry, he doesn't want to do anything and just taking life out on me? You have to evolve. I mean, there's going to be a bad moment in everybody's life where you're going to have depression and all that, depression, or you're going to be upset about things that didn't work out, but you can't linger on that. Life is, I don't care how you can play by the rules and still lose. It's just life. That's just how things happen. And you have to know that when they don't go your way, which is one of the topics I'm going to discuss in a bit, how do you handle that? So again, people don't get married to fail to. It's a God honest truth. Flow, what is up? What people don't realize, here's a comment here. What people don't realize is that you can negotiate a prenup. Yes, you can. And you should never sign anything without letting your lawyer look at it first. I 100% agree. That's super smart. Well, you're talking vow for a reason. I mean, if you're going for again, I don't know what your background is. If you're looking at a vow to have and to hold through sickness and health, through richer or poorer, right? For as long as you both shall live. Okay. So does that mean you're locked into a person who just says, okay, as soon as they say I do, I can just get fat and just let myself go and just be a total dick? I tricked you. Now we're married. And by vows through God, you cannot leave. You're now staying with me, and I'm going to just reveal this mask, and this is who I am, and just totally change. Is that fair? No. Marriage, no. You have to grow and evolve with each other. And again, if you're making your other partner's life miserable and hell, I don't care what vow that is. I mean, I think that's a dick move to just like allow yourself to just plummet into this horrible state and grow into an ugly person and still expect people to love you. Now that's not good. That's not good. How long was I married? 16 years. 16 years. More good than bad. Okay, number 5 here is have clear expectations for children and the elderly. Well, thank you. Somebody says on TikTok that that's a long time. You look young. Yeah, I'm 40. I'll be 47 on Saturday. My God, I'll be 47. Can you believe that? Yeah, I got married at 21. My ex-wife and I were both 21, so I don't advise getting married young. That's why I always say don't get married in your 20s. You have no idea uh, who you are as an individual, and you have no business becoming a husband at 21, unless this was the 1800s where the life expectancy was like 30. That's my daughter's birthday. She'll be 17. Well, tell her I said happy birthday. Okay, back to number 5. Have clear expectations for children and the elderly. Now, the children piece, I've seen people like get married, like I don't know, Sofia Vergara and her good-looking husband. They divorced because she didn't want to be a mom again. And I think, wow, really? That's an odd reason to get divorced. I mean, that should be a conversation you should have up front. Like, hey, if we're getting married, I want kids. I think you should have that conversation. So again, kids, disciplining kids, educating kids, uh, everything, schooling, everything. I think, no, you should have those conversations about, parenting. Are we going to get daycare? Are you going to be a stay-at-home mom? I think all those conversations need to be had before saying I do. And right now, with the rise of autism, there was this one nurse I dated who was a head nurse of a hospital of autism. She was just telling me how autism is just skyrocketing for people. You have to have an honest discussion. What if we have a special needs kid? And you have to look at your spouse's history. Like, is there a lot of like kids that have special needs in their family? Is that bloodline possibly going to come over here in our space? Are we going to have a special needs kid? I think all those conversations should be had. And if you're both willing to take that chance and raise that kid and do all that, then you're in the same boat. That's what I'm talking about. You need to have those conversations, honest conversations, the ones that people don't want to fucking have. You need to have those with your husband or wife, because again, I've heard stories where they had a special needs kid and mothers just left I can't do this. I'm 28 years old and he's going to need a parent or a guardian his entire life. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't get a chance to be an adult. I haven't even done me yet. So, no, I'm leaving. Women have left their, again, this is from the nurse I dated. There's been parents in their early 30s, early 20s who just signed up the kids to the state. They become wards of the state and just like, we can't do it. And then they end up getting divorced because they can't live with the decision they made. So again, you need to have those conversations about kids, disciplining them, gender, if it's a boy or girl and all that other stuff. Again, that's not my space, but again, you need to be sure you're aligned with all that before saying I do and before giving them your seed, guys. Okay. I fucking mean that. And I'm saying the elderly right now, and hear me out, because this is what I discovered as you get older. As everybody knows, my dad passed away 2 years ago. So my mom's been by herself since. And it's been my sister and myself who are helping her. I pay her house and my sister does her thing. But again, it's an expense. And you may date somebody, if you're in my age and looking to get married, you may date somebody who's living with their mom and taking care of their mom. And if you decide to get married with this person, guess what? Their mom is going to move in with you. Are you going to be okay with that? At the older state of life that I'm in now, you have to think about that. Now, most people say, hell no, I don't want your mom coming and living with us. But again, they've been living together for 10, 15 years now. Ever since dad died, it's just been them two. So again, you're marrying her, but it's also the mom or maybe a sibling. You have to have the discussion about the elderly. Are you going to be okay if need be later in life? His dad is going to have to live with y'all. And if you're not okay with that, you probably shouldn't get married because guess what? Life happens. Life happens. Maybe your father-in-law, the mother-in-law died, and now the father-in-law is just depressed and he just wants to live with y'all because he doesn't want to be alone. Are you going to be okay with your dad-in-law living with you for 6 months because he doesn't want to be alone? Or are you going to hate that, or vice versa? You got to have that conversation. Again, it's those types of events and situations I think a lot of people don't think about in life that may happen. I hope they don't, but it happens. Life will punch you in the fucking nose. And you're going to be like, I didn't see this coming. This isn't fair. We've all been there. And you have to be honest with yourself and the person you're with that they're going to be able to handle that type of situation. It's God honest truth. Thank you for the follow. Hi. Cynthia says, my mother-in-law asked a question about special needs bloodline. I was so offended, but now I get it. Oh, yeah. I mean, I can get why you're offended. But yeah, I mean, let's say you're going to meet a guy, but his dad has dementia, his grandfather had dementia, and so forth. So dementia is just running rampant in the guy you're considering to share your life with and his family. That means your husband, the guy, your fiance may get early signs of dementia. Are you going to be his caregiver? Are you going to take care of him in his 50s or 60s when he starts, losing himself? It's heartbreaking to see that. But also was as well, I mean, cancer, you need to have that discussion. You need to have those discussions to find out if you guys are compatible or not. And a lot of young people don't. And when life punches them in the nose, guess what? They leave. And then you got guys on TikTok or on Facebook saying, well, life got hard, she quit. Well, yeah, you didn't have the conversation. And it happened. So yeah, be sure to have all those grown-up conversations, because if not, you'd be surprised what life throws at you, man. I'm single, so excuse me, Sean says, I'm single, so I'm I think you say a long way from marriage, so no worries for me. Well, yeah, again, marriage isn't for everybody. If you're young, I totally get that. That's what I'm saying. Marriage is not for everybody. I truly believe that there's a small percentage of people who are actually compatible to be married. But again, for me, I think these are very important items to share that'll help people. Maybe some engagements will be canceled. Who knows? Not trying to do that, but hell, maybe I just saved a life of hell for you. All right. Number 6, I'm going to run through these real quick. Respect. Do you have a mutual respect for each other? In other words, we've all been in relationships where, you're getting mad, and we all have said something that you can never take back that is incredibly hurtful. And those are the type of wounds that never really heal. You try to forget about them, but they're always going to be present. And I think if you have somebody that you're with that no matter how hard it got, no matter how mad you got at each other, you both respected each other to not cross that line. I think that's very important. I think that's very important to have because, again, deep down, what that's telling you is that when I'm seeing them at their worst, when I'm seeing things go bad, and when we're having this debate, she's not going to pull something that's sensitive in my life or an event in my life and hurt me with that. She's not going to get these daggers and hurt me by saying that thing that she knows that will upset me. Like, you remind me of your mom or something like that, as an example. But again, I think there has to be a clean mutual respect with one another. And if it's one sided, or if you both are attacking and saying the most horrible, hateful things to each other, you shouldn't get married. You shouldn't get married because it's only going to get worse. Okay. Would you ever get married? I'm engaged, dude. I'm engaged again. Yes, I'm getting remarried. Number 7, and I got to be very, very, very sensitive here. So just kind of bear with me. Uh, I have get your kinks out of your way. Now, you can take that for what it is, but how can I word this on social media? What I'm trying to say here is that if you are the type who wants to be exploratory in that one, as that one area in the bedroom, and you haven't done so, and you know deep down that is a lingering fire in you that you have to at least explore once, then you have no business getting married. Because again, if you still have that fantasy or that thought in your mind and you haven't actually done it, that's something that's going to be in your mind for a very long time. And before you know it, 8, 10 years down the road, you're going to be thinking about what ifs and could haves. And that's when people cheat. So again, you have to at least get that out of the way. And when I mean kinks, I am meaning in the bedroom as well, and that goes for both men and women. I'm not saying go sleep with everybody, but if you have a particular need or you're curious about anything, go explore that before committing to one person for the rest of your life, because I promise you, your marriage is going to fail. Kinks can also be traveling. It could be hobbies. It could be pursuing or going to school and getting a degree, or getting a skill set, starting a business, something you've always wanted to do as a kid. And now you're an adult and you have the means to get started on that dream. That's what I mean by kink, and but also mean it in the bedroom as well. Take care of that before you say I do. Because once you say I do, life can happen. And before you know it, you may have to give up on that idea. Don't ever cancel out your ideas or dreams so early in life because you want to get married right away. Focus on, I want everybody to be selfish for a moment in your life. Okay. When you're a kid, you're learning right from wrong. You're growing up at mom and dad's house. I'm urging everybody from at least 18 to, I don't know, 27, just be selfish and learn about you. Go do what you want. Pursue your dreams, go to school, start that business, whatever it is you want, but learn and evolve and grow and take some L's, learn how to fail and build yourself up. Do all that, season yourself. And when you find out who you are and what you really want in life and what you're made out of, then consider the idea of getting married, because that's when you're potentially ready. Before that, you're not ready and your marriage is going to fail. Okay, so get your kinks out of your way, go live, go find out who you are, take your time, be selfish, and then later in life, after at least 27, shit, I'll say 28, then you can go ahead and decide to get married. And this is from an elderly guy who's going to be 47 on Saturday telling you this. Listen to what I'm saying. And I'm pretty sure all the old folks in here, and when I say old folks, I mean people who are divorced and maybe 35 and up, will tell you the same thing. All right. Flo says elderly is a really, really good point. I have a friend who took care of a dying husband, and then his mother, and then her sister. Wow. Wow. Now her husband wants his mom to move in with them, and she says she can't take it anymore and is grieving with that. That's a valid real life situation. Wow. Yeah. And you have to have that discussion. How long was I single before my current relationship? 2016. And I met my love witch in, let's just say, January of 2020. So about 3 years of just being a man whore, just having fun, dude, and just doing everything I've always wanted to do. So yeah, I got you, Sean. I got you. Okay, let me go to some questions here on TikTok before I move on here. Again, guys, super chats are always appreciated. Stars from Facebook, anything you want to help contribute to the podcast, I will give you a shout out. I would appreciate that. Did you have all these difficult conversations with your fiance now? Yeah, all of them. That's why I wrote them down. Honest question: have you done one with questions to ask yourself before getting married? Have you done one with whom? I don't know what you mean by that. How long did it take for you to heal and start dating after your divorce? Well, like I said, I was very clear. I went to therapy for about 6 months before the divorce papers were signed. So mentally, I was ready just to go have fun. I knew what I wanted. And after my divorce, I just went and again, I just wanted to be a man whore and just have fun because, again, I never had that life. And that was just me. But again, I was upfront and clear with a lot of women and upfront and honest. And it's amazing. Women love honesty and they love you telling them exactly, hey, I know what I want and this is what I'm going for. They may not like the answer, but they respect that you're honest with them and not leading them on. So I had a great time in the dating world and I did everything I've always wanted to do. I had fun. And again, imagine getting married at 21 and immediately going into the husband role, right? And then a few 7 years later, then you become a father. And then you get divorced. And then the kids are with their mom and you're in the house and you're like, what the fuck am I? Who am I? I've been a dad and a husband my entire life. I've never been Rudy. And what the fuck is Rudy? I don't know what Rudy likes. So what do I do on my own when the kids aren't here? It was a scary fucking moment of just clarity that I had. I'm like, what the fuck do I do with myself? And then slowly finding out, who I am, what I wanted to do, and going finding myself was the most terrifying and best part of my life. I had such a blast. So again, that's why I'm saying for everybody, find out who you are as an individual. It's like this superhero origin story. It's your origin story, and it's fucking awesome. Go do that. Esmeralda, hello. How are you doing? So there's my answer. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, and Sean again. Happy birthday, super chat. Yeah, thank you so much. Again, the big 4-7. Do I look 47? Be nice. No, maybe. Thank you, Sean. You're the man. I can always count on Sean. Thank you, Sean. Hearsay number 2 says, have you ever talked about either having opposite sex friends? We have, and we understand boundaries. We don't. I mean, as of right now, I have 2 close friends. They're both male. She's got female friends. We both understand how that can be a problem in some relationships. I'm not going to be the type of guy who says she can't, but I don't see why she would. It's weird because we have this intimacy and connection where we both know what would cause a problem down the road. We're not being selfish or thinking about, okay, I can't do this. I mean, she knows that I network with many women. There's many women coaches out there that I've networked and collaborated with, but she knows I would never cross that line. And every female coach that I've worked with will attest to that. So again, it's you get to a point in life where you know what you want, you know what's in front of you, and you're not going to be stupid to blow it. If that makes any sense, Hearsay. I mean, so we've discussed that and we know what the rules of that are going to be. Hope that answers your question. So that left out at number 7 here. Now we're at number 8. Number 8 is religion and politics. Now religion, I can see that people can be compatible if you have different religions. And again, the only main problem would be dealing with in-laws or family members or a community. That can be a problem. But again, you want to discuss that and what you want your children to adopt to, whatever religion you want to discuss that, and not what takes priority, but what you want to teach them, especially if you come from different paths. And politics, me, I hate politics. One of my favorite lyrics to the Ramones songs. One of my favorite lyrics to a song is from the Ramones. One thing that makes me sick is somebody. Well, how's that song go? One thing makes me sick. When all you talk about is politics. God, I blew that fucking quote. But anyway, when somebody's all about politics, it's not for me. But politics, as of the past few years, has become a divisive conversation. It's separated lifelong friendships. It's divided families. And you want to be sure that you either are on the same page when it comes to that, or it's a non-factor in your marriage. The last thing you want is, every 4 years or anything political comes about, which we are a political heavy conversation state, especially in Texas, that it's not going to be a problem, that you respect one another. So again, you want to touch on that and be sure you're both on the same page or be at least compatible with that. Okay. And again, you can have different differing points of view. I've always said this. That did you guys know that John Carpenter and Kurt Russell, these guys have made some of the greatest movies ever. I'm talking The Thing. I'm talking Elvis. I'm talking Big Trouble in Little China. They've done a lot of great movies. John Carpenter is a Democrat, and Kurt Russell is a card-carrying Republican. And they can put their beliefs aside and make some great fucking movies. So if they can do it, anybody can. So again, don't let politics divide your friendships and all that. People have gotten so tribal nowadays. I don't understand that whatsoever. Esmeralda, hello. I think I said hello already. Number 9. We're almost done here. Have you seen the worst in her, and has she seen the worst in you? And how did they handle the situation? One thing I love about my love witch is that, again, I was really the one who came into the relationship with all the fucking baggage and trauma because that's all I had ever known. And through therapy, I discovered that the toxic relationships stem back to parental upbringing. So sometimes your parental upbringing kind of like is a huge indicator on what type of relationships you look for in your life. So again, when you meet somebody and you're just in a horrible state and they're not, how do they react to you? You're at your worst. What are they bringing to the table? I know I hate saying that, but what are they bringing to the table? Are they making the situation worse by yelling at you, calling you names, becoming indifferent and separating themselves from you? Or are they trying to center you? Are they trying to bring you back and work with you and be patient with you to help you realign back to who you were and who they know you are? And God, guys, if you have that type of person, you're fucking blessed. You better put a ring on that. I don't give a fuck what you think about marriage or what you think about divorce. You put a ring on that, because if you have a woman in your life who's willing to put up with your bullshit and be patient with you, but you're proving to her that, you know what, I'm recognizing I was acting like an asshole and I'm sorry. I'll work on that. But thank you for giving me perspective. If you have that in your life, it's fucking beautiful, dude. You don't let that go. And vice versa. If ladies, if a guy's doing that for you, he's actually being patient, helping you get to where you need to be. Don't let that go. Just take it from this guy at 47. I've dated, I don't want to brag here, but over 100 women minimum. I'd say 80, somewhere between 80 and 100 after 2016. There's not many women like that out there. There isn't. And guys, again, if you have that type of person, do not let that fucking go. I mean that. Yes, I'm getting fucking emotional. I don't give a shit. I don't care if you're gonna if you're gonna make fun of me. It's the truth. It's a beautiful thing. So again, how do they react when you're at your worst? And how do you react when they're at their worst? Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're not doing well. Are you doing everything you can to make it better? Sometimes that's space, right? Maybe back off a little bit. Whatever the case is, how do you help each other when you're both or one of you are down? That's very important. Don't ever forget that. I mean that. Because if you're down and you're just out of it, guys, because you didn't get that raise, or maybe you're just not feeling well because your boss is giving you shit, you come home and you're telling your wife, and she's like, well, why are you being a little bitch? I don't know. What do you want me to fucking tell you? Man up. I don't know. I got shit to do. If she's, oh, dude, if you fucking hear that, if you hear that, it's done. You're wasting your time with that woman. I mean, what kind of woman would actually tell that to a man or vice versa? But my God, I mean, if you're hearing that type of like a support, I'm sorry that you have that, but you shouldn't have that. Everybody, men can be strong. Men are strong, but there are moments when we're vulnerable and we need our Adrian or Wonder Woman, whatever you want, to at least put their arms around us and say, hey, it's okay, babe. I got you for right now. We need that. That's going to be a TikTok. Okay. Hey, Trish, what's up? Um, Flo says here, being compatible with different religions or political beliefs requires a lot of respect. I 100% agree. And the ability to disagree, but respect the other's right to their opinion. Yeah, what happened to like, I don't agree with you, but I respect your opinion. We used to hear that a lot in the 80s and 90s, and then that stopped. I don't know what happened. Religion I'm flexible with, that I would want a politics free marriage. Yeah, I would agree as well. I would agree as well. People are good actors. I think De Niro and Boy's Life. Yeah. Mhm. Okay. And number 10, we're at the very end here. So again, we're about a little over. So this is perfect time, the podcast. Okay. And number 10 is I put this here just to kind of piss people off, but what do you bring to each other's table? And let me just kind of talk from a guy's point of view, because depending on the stage of your life, I know for me for a while, and most guys can agree with this, you're looking for the hottest woman because it's like a status symbol to you. You want to be the guy who walks in with the hottest woman in the bar. You want to be the envy of every guy. And I think there's a brief moment in all our lives where you want to be that way, right? If you're solely looking for looks and beauty, if you're looking for a girl who's got a got, as you guys see on TikTok, or the physical attributes that you love, if that's all you're looking for, I promise you your marriage will end. If you're solely focusing the needs of what you're looking for of a wife on physical beauty, I assure you your marriage will end. Seriously, beauty fades and she won't look like that forever. Okay. So what do you do after that? And again, beauty doesn't speak. Her beauty is not going to raise your kids. She can be a beautiful woman, but be a horrible person. And if she is a horrible person, is that the type of woman you want around your kids? Probably not. You want a good woman. Or you want a good wife. Of course, there should be some attraction. Yes, but sometimes what you think you want is not what you want. There's beauty in all types of places and women. So again, be sure what you're looking for. And again, if you're just looking for that, it's going to fail. You want to look at the entire aspect, and you want to look at the individual. It is, as I mentioned, everything I've spoken to before is like attributes of behavior that you have to look for in a person before even considering the idea of saying, honey, will you marry me? Or I want to get married again. If all these items, and of course, it's not just 10, it could be hundreds of more, it could be 20 more. I don't know. But these are the 10 that just kind of like resonated with me because of my experience and my previous failures in my first marriage. So again, what are they bringing to your life? Is she making you better? Are you both making each other better? Are you both bringing drama into your fucking life where you're just fighting all the time, but the sex is good? Are you are you making each other worse? Like, is he bringing nothing but fucking bad credit and drama and collections? Is, you know what I'm saying? Is he bringing something good into your life? And I'm not talking about there's potential that he's going to be a good guy. Don't fucking look at potential, all right? It's going to fail. Don't look at potential. Look at what they are, all right? And if he's bringing nothing but negative things, why the fuck would you marry him? Again, what are you doing to each other's lives? Are you making each other better? That's the key. And by better, I don't mean you're both going to the gym and you fucking look both and you both are hot. People put too much emphasis on physical beauty, and that's not enough. Some of the most beautiful women that I've ever dated who had great bodies were the most toxic, messed up women ever. So be careful with that. And better, I mean, all around. I mean, yes, physical beauty is part of that, but again, health and just communication and evolving and growing and learning and becoming a better person. Do your friends look at you when you're dating somebody like, wow, you've changed? You look, yeah, I've never seen you this happy. Are your friends telling you that? Dudes, are your guys saying like, bro, you dated some lot of crazy bitches out there, man, but you know what? This is a good one. You need to take her seriously, man. I'm not going to let you fuck around. I'm not going to let you waver on this woman. Are your bros telling you that? Because those are all green flags. If everyone is seeing a positive change in both of you, that's a huge, huge green flag. If your friends are saying, you know what, I don't know what's going on with you, I hardly see you anymore. I think he's keeping you away from us. You're changing, like you seem like you're walking on eggshells. Listen to that shit. that's a big indicator. These are people that you've known for years who love you, who are telling you and being honest and saying, "Hey, I don't like how you're behaving with this person. They're changing you. We hardly see you." If this person's stripping you away from your identity in your life, that's not a good thing. So again, ask yourself, what are you bringing to each other's lives? And be honest with yourself. And again, if you're currently in love with somebody and over the 10 items that I discussed, if one of these or more than one are like, holy shit, you know what? It's not good. Maybe you should consider leaving that person. If you're engaged to somebody and you're listening to this right now and you're like, holy shit, she's missed 5 out of the 10. And I know she's not going to lean or just wiggle in any way or shape or form with any of these items. Or if with these 10 items, you find out you're lying to yourself and you know what, you're not ready to be married and you're currently engaged, do yourself a favor and cancel it. Cancel it. Don't get married. Don't say, I'm going to use this moment to change. I'm going to use this moment to commit and totally change. No, you're not ready. You're lying to yourself. And I've got over now 5,000 stories from men and women all over the world that you guys email. And again, for those who are listening on the podcast, watching on TikTok or on Facebook, if you want to send me your story, send it to me. I save them all. I got 5,000 of them. Send me your story on why your husband cheated or why your wife cheated, how you thought you were in love. Send me the story. I read every single one of them. Email it to rootedadvice@gmail.com. I'll repeat that. Email me your story at rootedadvice@gmail.com. I read every single fucking one of them. And again, everything I'm sharing with you is my own experience and also what I've learned from other people. So again, if I'll repeat it one more time, if your partner is not meeting any of the criteria we discussed, you should really consider moving on or having that discussion. If you are lying to yourself and you have a lot of unfinished business that you feel that you should go out and pursue on your own, you should be honest with yourself and move on. And that's tonight's podcast. I want to thank you for watching. If you haven't done so already, please follow the show on whatever platform you're listening on. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, like the video, and also leave some comments. Let me know if you thought the information in this video was helpful in any way. Also, keep in mind, I have an entire catalog of other episodes regarding